Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Building a Farm Advisory AI using the Claude API and WhatsApp API. We're going to see how the AI behaves when we ask alternating questions between crop disease and strategy. Because in the last episode, we were not able to see it because those two agents did not talk to each other. And let's kind of quickly demonstrate that. So here we have a simple greeting, and now I'm going to ask, my groundnut leaves have brown spots and they are spreading fast, right? Now, according to the architecture we set up, it should respond with just like that. It should say that this is the kind of crop diagnosis there should be, and it has the it basically gives you the most likely suspect, the action items, the treatments, and then a follow-up question. Now I'm going to ignore that follow-up question, and I'm going to be a farmer who is under stress because of this, given the impact on the sales. And I'm going to say, given what you found, should I still harvest on schedule or push it back? Now we're going to see how this performs, because I do. I need to stop you there. I don't actually diagnose diseases or pests. That brown spot problem needs a proper look from someone who knows the plant disease as well. So the farm strategy bot responded according to design, but we want it to because it knows what the most likely suspect is, which is it's a leaf spot disease. So in this episode, this is what we try and help with. So let's go and have a look at our architecture. This is what we're going to try and do, which is we had this where there are two different agents and they kind of give this reply, but they aren't really talking to each other. You can see that they are parallel streams. After the triage gives these valid categories, these agents kick in depending on the question. What we want to do now, we want a directional flow to go from the crop disease agent down to a state variable, and this is going to be using upstash, right? And this will hold the state from what the disease is. And remember, we had JSON format with this. It's going to hold it there, and then it's going to give it to the farm strategy agent, and then we get good replies to the WhatsApp accordingly. So now, why are we using upstash? We are using upstash because Vercel is going to start a new instance every time the WhatsApp message is given. Now, if this was in the same file and we had a different way of getting our messages, we wouldn't need this. But because we are using a different platform, which is the WhatsApp API, every call is going to be a different Vercel function and we need to persist it somewhere. So let's go on to the code to see what we're going to add here. So here in the code, what we do is we already saw that we used the upstash to persist beyond the Vercel functions across about 10 messages and across 24 hours. So we use that same storage to now have two helper functions, the get farm state and the set farm state. Now it gets called and we check if there is some history and we have that information. And if that is true, then we pass that as a dictionary. So here is the same handle crop disease, where we just add something where if it's successfully parsed and we get that JSON reply in terms of disease and this and that, then we then set its farm state right there. So when we set its farm state, it has its history in the form of a dictionary, and then we continue as normal. We send the response back just talking as a crop disease agent. But then when a question is asked for farm strategy immediately after, we have a new thing where we get the farm state from the center, and if there is a state, then recent farm diagnostic context, that is the diagnosis, primary suspect, and severity, and all of that. So we added all these things to inform the farm strategy agent that factored this into your advice relevant, right? And then the rest of it is pretty much the same, where they get rest of the history for the general context. And now we have an answer that would be a little more relevant in terms of farm strategy. And one more thing is, this is what I realized during testing, is that we still have to go ahead and update the original prompts for the farm strategy because they may be in conflict with what we are asking it to do. So we changed this paragraph a little bit in the farm strategy prompt where it says you cannot diagnose diseases or prescribe treatments. That is the agronomist's role. However, if the system prompt includes recent diagnostic context, use it to inform harvest and timing recommendations, right? And if the farmer raises a new disease or pest problem with no other context, direct them to ask about it separately. And if they keep pushing it in the future, we could add more escalation to a human. But for now, it has to push back politely to say that now I think you need to go back to the weeds, into the details, and this is no longer a strategy conversation. This makes it very clear there is no kind of override or overlap happening where the farm strategy prompt starts advising on the crop disease, because that would defeat the purpose of why we had them separate in the first place. So let's go ahead and test this out once this gets pushed. All right, let's go ahead and begin again with, say, simple greeting, and it goes ahead with the regular response. As expected, I send a crop disease message of some urgency, and it has given us the same diagnosis that it gave before, which seems to be a leaf spot disease. But now we re-copy paste what we have and we say, given what you know, should I still harvest on schedule or push it back? Now earlier what we had was a very abrupt kind of response, which is I need to stop you there because they don't handle this. All right. This time we get a different response. With leaf spot disease spreading fast in your groundnut, here's what matters with harvest timing. So if they're damaged heavily, the plant stops feeding the pods underground, and then it asks, this is what really matters, which is how many weeks there are until the normal harvest state. And there's some hope there if it's just 2 weeks away and the leaf damage is already done and you're better off harvesting soon. And it has some follow-up questions, which is how much of it is already spotted, if it's mostly the lower leaves. So it gives a very good response that affects how they harvest, when they harvest, and what to do given such kind of a disease. And we can maybe just ask, leaves are on the lower part of the plant. Now I didn't pre-store this, I'm just gonna throw it in. What do you think? We're going to give a generic response to see if it gently pushes me back to the crop disease agent. And it doesn't. Here it just said something went wrong. So as you can see that when I tried to push it back with getting into the details, it couldn't handle this because we don't have a very good error handling strategy. So next time what we're going to do is we're going to do the validation retry loop, right? It's asking a question that should be handled in a way that it either says you need to start a new chat or you need to reply with the same context as before. But here we didn't do that. So it just handed the baton to the farm strategy agent with the right context, the right severity, the right diagnosis, but it couldn't handle it back. So that's what we're going to do in episode number 8. I'll see you then and have a great day. Bye-bye.